We turn your attention to page 2 of the Finder newspaper for today, Friday, the 28th of June, 2024. You will learn that 65% of 15 to 24-year-olds are jobless. That's a staggering 65% who are jobless and unable to, grab jobs, unstable, low-income jobs, far-reaching implications of unemployment, security implications, etc. They are all stated there. Now, this is the true state of our country. Even though we have had some decade of a strong economic growth, the informal sector remains dominant, accounting for 75% of the workforce. So now, let's get into the conversation of some individuals who were the Remember Me folks who were also told that they were going to be given permanency. Today, the permanency is not permanenting. Frimpong Manso is the PR of the Grip NABCO personnel. David Peterson is the former national organizer of the Coalition for NABCO Trainees. The allowances are stuck in the limbo. They've gone to Shraj, the Commission of Human Rights and Administrative Justice. This will follow a number of press releases and press conferences that they've had, and a couple of demonstrations. Gentlemen, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, Mr. Hughes. We are fine. We thank God.
Are you sure? You don't have jobs. How can you be fine?
As we always say, as far as life, I think things are going to work out. We are still pushing. It's not that easy though, but we are pushing, and we hope that things are going to be fine. As far as we are in front of you, we know definitely the government is going to listen to our plea.
Right. Yeah. Have you been remembered?
3FM.
Actually, first of all, let me thank your listeners. Let me say good morning to your listeners, and we will thank you, Honorable Johnny, for this opportunity. As you asked, if you have been remembered, I'll say it's a big no. We've not been remembered at all. If I will go a little deep, you could say that our flag bearer now for NPP, the New Patriotic Party, who is now the vice president.
Right.
I think he has taught almost all the regions in Ghana here. But there is no one single occasion whereby this vice president have made mention of NABCO as an achievement. You can see that the government is so quiet about this NABCO stuff. Wherever they get the opportunity to talk to the people, they don't even make mention about the NABCO issue. So this is a big no. They don't remember us, and they just want to forget about NABCO. And we are also not going to sit down for this to happen because they are still owing us.
How many months now?
Currently,
how many months are owed you?
The government is owing us 9 months, straightforward. 9 months.
9 months arrears?
9 month arrears, yes. 9 month arrears. And we've given you some documents can be placed on their on the Facebook page. This one is coming from the CEO himself, the former CEO of NABCO, Dr. Ibrahim Anyas. We wrote to him, but he couldn't reply. So we used Sraj. We wrote to Sraj, we petitioned Sraj, and Sraj wrote to him. Then he replied that particular petition letter. And if you read the content of the letter, you can realize that he even stated clearly that the government is owing us 9 months. So it's not that we NABCO trainees are making just a propaganda. So this is coming from the former CEO. They are owing us 9 good months. And if you look at the number of trainees that is stated in the letter, we are now 66,362 NABCO trainees currently, who the government is owing us 9 good months. So if you do the calculations, now the government is owing us 418 million Ghana cedis.
You think the government can find money to pay Frimpong Manso?
Mr. Hughes, thank you so much. Before I go, Mr. Hughes, as my brother said, NABCO trainees right now we are more than 60,000. Yesterday I informed them of coming here. So we had a virtual meeting, and they said when I come, I should extend their gratitude to you.
I'm grateful to them.
In fact, there's not a single week that will pass without you remembering NABCO trainees. So in fact, you remember us, but the government has totally neglected us. And in fact, we feel like we've been cheated. They've outsmarted us. In fact, it's like they've rendered us useless as we are talking right now.
That's how you feel?
Mr. Hughes, if I am to take you through the ordeal that NABCO trainees has passed through, in fact, it will be emotional here.
What ordeals are these?
You see, first of all, the NABCO trainees were segmented into various categories. For instance, we were having Heal Ghana, Educate Ghana. I was part of the Educate Ghana, so I would like to take you through that. Please. When you talk of the Educate Ghana, these were people that we classify them as teachers.
Right.
And when we were disbursing them, the government sent them to the remote areas where teachers are not willing. I mean, professional teachers are not willing to go there. People will go there and suffer. When there is clearance and the government has to take some of the NABCO trainees, by the time you realize a new person will come over there. This new person will come and teach for like 1 year. Then he will request for transfer.
Okay.
But as for NABCO trainee, we have no gut to look for transfer. So we will be in these remote areas taking 700 Ghana cedis. But the way the government treated us in the, how they paid us, was clearly showing us that the government wants us to be useless. Mr. Hughes, do you know why?
I don't know.
Okay. Initially, we knew that the policy were to elevate youth, not knowing it was an orchestrated attempt to depress us, to devalue us. You see, during the NABCO era, a trainee will receive 1 month allowance and it will take like 3 months.
Before you get another one.
When it takes us 3 months to get another one, it will take us like 5 months. We will be there, empty, handed, and we will be going to work here and there. Some of us even have to take transport as a mode of commuting to our various workplace.
Right.
We borrowed money. We in fact, we work under harsh conditions.
Right.
Yet still, no appreciation from the government. Now, if I tell you the number of NABCO trainees that have died from malnutrition, you will not.
Do you have statistics?
We have people that have died because of malnutrition.
Young people.
Young people.
I don't understand.
From various sectors. This is not a rocket science. People, human, we need food before we can survive. And we use money to purchase this food.
These people who you say died because they were not getting their monies, do you know them personally?
Oh, we have colleagues that are within the ground right now. They are the buried. I mean, we buried them.
Died and they've been buried.
So many trainees. Some of them even died from petty diseases. If they were to have money, they could have seek for treatment. But there's no hope for them.
This permanency thing, when you talk about it, the government has a certain tone to suggest that they didn't really necessarily promise you permanency. They said they were going to give you training, and that training was going to help you to find your footing, as Frimpong Manso said. Why do you people insist that government promised you permanency? Peterson.
All right. Thank you, Johnny. Before I move on to the substantial question, just to add up to what my colleague said with regards to the deprived condition that we were put into. I was at the Greater Accra Regional Police out of headquarters in Accra, and a friend called me that I was taking permission for a demonstration. A friend called me and was, Charlie Peterson, this thing that you guys are doing, we really appreciate. I'm not in Accra. I'm somewhere in the north. I would have come, but Charlie, the condition is too much for me. I can't come. And as I speak to you right now, my wife just left me because of my situation. A colleague just called when I was at the
police headquarters trying to get
secure permission for our demonstration. So what my friend says, true. We get calls here and there from trainees telling us their condition of what the condition they are in now. All right. So back to the
but when you held those demonstrations, at least we expected that we're going to see the numbers. Some of the people didn't come up. In fact, I got information that even on your pages, some people were against the demonstrations and all of that. I mean, how can you be owed money? You are demanding for the monies. People are suffering. You are not united.
All right. When it comes to the unity, I don't think that is about unity, but it's about the transportation cost. Some even getting the money to transport themselves to circle. It's even a problem.
But there were partisan undertones where people disagreed that this was going to hurt the government and the party, NPP.
All right. You see, in Ghana, we cannot take politics out of our discussion.
Not when your food is taken away
definitely,
from you.
there are some people who are going to be fuel to at least spoil the whole program.
Right.
As I was coming back from the headquarters, I had a call from the National Security, one Dr. Hassan.
Right.
And he was inviting me to come over.
Okay.
But I was like, no, I'm going to meet the regional commander.
Right.
So it wouldn't be possible. So imagine if I went there, I don't know what would have happened. So as we speak, there are a lot that goes into it. Definitely because they don't want to make the government unpopular. There will be definitely some who will be underground, try to spoil the whole program. But the issue more is that most complain of transportation coming for the demonstration.
So they don't have
they
the
Famico. That's the problem. So back to the issue of permanency.
That's right.
You see, during the course of the NABCO
the program, the 3-year program,
there was this career pathway that the government made us to feel.
Right.
So when the career pathway came in, there was a space for those who want to be enrolled or to be absorbed into the mainstream as government workers. And there were those who want to continue their education.
Okay.
And there were those who want to enter into entrepreneurship.
Right.
So the government gave us these options. So we that fell in permanency, we want to be absorbed into the mainstream.
Right.
So what happened to that one too? Those who also filled in for entrepreneurship, what happened? Those who wanted to further their education, what happened? So we always ask that. So all these arrangements that came in, what is happening? We don't hear anything immediately after completing that career pathway. It ended there.
But the government insists that some people have been employed permanently.
I personally, with my team, went to see the human resource there. She was acting then of GRA.
Okay.
Akwisia.
Right.
I went there with my team to meet her one-on-one. We rather wrote to the Commissioner General, but he was not in the country. So he gave us to the HR to attend to us.
Right.
I went there with my team to meet one-on-one in her office. So when we went there, that time, GRA gave some of our colleagues extension. Because
I remember
of the hard
that.
work they were doing.
That.
Yes.
And you were even actually promised that you were going to get some money, that those who are at the GRA, right? Because targets had been achieved. Right. I remember
a colleague even was able to stop some deal at the flower border that was going to cost the government a huge sums of money. And NABCO training did that job. So when that issue came up, we went there to show appreciation for at least giving some of our colleagues extensions. So after it was a period of about 8 months or so.
Right.
So after the extension, we don't know how far. So for them to come out that if some have been absorbed, we would like to get statistics. So most of them are contract basis.
Okay.
For a main employment, then I think you, the NABCO trainers, have to do your own homework.
Okay.
You have to do your own.
You have to get
moves,
your own connections,
your own connections,
your own linkages.
That is it. But for the government to or deliberately absolve you, I don't think to what we have now. We don't have any records to that. Most of them were on contract basis.
Okay. We're going to speak to your document in a bit, but let me ask you, Frimpong, so did the promise of permanency, for example, convince NABCO beneficiaries to vote again for the government so that a protection of the promise and the actualization of same would have happened?
You see, Mr. Hughes, this question that we are asking, I think is the main reason why some of the civil societies and the opposition in one way or the other are not adding their voices to our plea.
Right.
Yes, of course. We can't come in here and lie that it did not influence people. And if, in fact, it did not influence the NABCO trainees, then it will be like the NABCO trainees were not thinking right. Because imagine you've been home for 5 years. You are looking for a job. You were at the banking sector. Now everything is collapsed. The only resort is the NABCO. And someone come and tells you, say, the NABCO that you are doing, if only I can take you out of it to situate you in a permanent job condition, I have to be in power. at normal circumstances, we expect this to influence so many people.
Right.
And let me tell you something about what happened in Konongo.
Tell me.
What happened there was that the coordinator over there organized some of the NABCO boys for them to educate the people, the old mothers home, the need to maintain the government.
Oh, they went on the ground to campaign because they thought they were going to get the jobs. out of it.
Yes.
So they had to
NABCO
do something
trainees,
to support the government.
fantastic. NABCO trainees indeed worked for the government as at that time. But right now, the picture is now clear. Now we see the NABCO. Initially, we thought it was an initiative to elevate us. Now we are now getting the picture that it was a molded vehicle to drive us into poverty. It was a molded vehicle to separate us from the ordinary youth of Ghana and that of politicians.
Dr. Baumia will not be happy with you. And Dr. Ibrahim Anyas, who's also on the campaign team of Dr. Baumia, they will not be happy with you. Because
Okay.
I remember the launch of NABCO at the National Theatre and the exact things that were said, all right? It looked very positive. And then we have had conversations with Dr. Anyas as well. How does it feel knowing that you were told these things? The same set of people are now asking for, another term, and they're leading the charge, to break that. How does it feel?
Talking of Dr. Anyas, in fact, if you had to rank the CEOs, the various CEOs, for me personally, I would rank him the least.
Why would you do that?
You see, as a leader in times of crisis, we are expecting you to spearhead our agenda. How many times will even a NABCO trainee attest to the fact that Dr. Anyas was there for us? We didn't feel his presence. He neglected us. One time, some of our trainees got an encounter with him, and do you know the response he gave?
What did
He
he
told them, if we are to get this our money, we have to pray. Look at this.
Whoa.
Do we use prayers? Ghana here, if Akosumbo is drying up, we pray. If Galamsey menace is out of hands, we pray. Now, NABCO training have worked. We have to pray before we receive our money. So these are people, we cannot rely on them anymore.
At that time, when you were being owed your allowances, not salaries, allowances, were the NABCO secretariat officials receiving their pay?
To be frank, I can attest to it whether they were receiving or not.
Right.
But from the look of things, how relaxed they are, we can make meaning out of it.
I see. Let's first put the documents up. Let's speak to the document. So this was after many attempts trying to get the attention of NABCO and the secretariat. It failed. So you had to write to Shraj, and then they also wrote to Dr. Anyas, and he responded. In this response, was there a promise to pay?
All right. Thank you very much again. You see, this document that you are seeing on the screen now, it was from a result of some information we had from the Auditor General's document. It was said that an amount of 644 million Ghana cedis was released somewhere in 2021 to settle NABCO issues. So we wrote to Anyas that this is what we've gathered. So how far? The document from the Auditor General says that this amount has been released to pay NABCO training. But as we speak, the money has not reached us. And this document came out from the Honorable Okudjato Ablakwa. He brought out this document. We had access to it. He didn't reply, so we took the matter to Sraj. I and one of my guys. So we took the matter, then they wrote to me and replied that that amount of money was used for some office expenses and those in the secretariat. So it means that NABCO beneficiaries, we the trainees, were not part of that particular amount.
Oh, wow.
So yes. So you can see that it's obvious that all what they are doing is just to benefit themselves. And the issue of he being able to push for payment is also another picture. He's told us that he is pushing, but the government have to use his executive powers to instruct the finance minister to do to pay. So as we speak, we did a lot of. I have been with the honorable MP for Futu, Fenyomakins. I was with him in his office, and he told me point blank, I will say it clear, that we should wait. If they receive the IMF money, they will pay us. He said that in front of me.
That's the assurance that was
That's what he
you.
gave to me when I was in his office, that we should wait if they receive the IMF money. And the first tranche came 0. We did not hear anything from him. I sat with the Okujata Black Honorable, and he also promised that you push the matter at the floor of Parliament. He pushed the matter. We heard him push the matter at the floor of Parliament. 0. So now after all those, I have been with the OSP.
Right.
We wrote to him that I've even sent a document to your colleague. So in all this,
put that OSP document up.
In summary, we got to realize that there is someone, a big man, who we need to push, and that person is the president for our president, Honorable His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. He used his executive powers to bring NABCO into existence.
Right.
I know we all know it not go through Parliament. He used his own executive powers to push NABCO.
Right.
So now, all what we've done so far, as we sit here right now, we are pleading on him again. The way he used his executive powers to bring NABCO into existence, he used the same executive powers to instruct the finance minister.
What did the OSP say to you? That's the letter. All right. Written by Keseja, being special prosecutor. What did he say? All
right. When we wrote the letter, when we petitioned him about the 644 million. Right. We know he deals with corruption issues, and so wherever the money is, we wrote to him to investigate and find out and give us our money, because it's stated in the document that it's for NABCO trainees. Right. So we wrote to him, and he gave us an acknowledgement letter that he has seen our petition, so it's going to go through.
How long ago was this?
This one, we received this one 2023 February.
And up to now, you have not received anything.
So when we pushed further, and at the long run, he told us that it's not within his mandate. Yes, he told us point blank that it's not within his mandate. So we just have to let it go and look elsewhere. So this NABCO thing, we have been with we've been to all the high places.
And still,
we have been to Baumia's, the vice president's office. Right. Still. So now the only option we have now
is the president.
As we speak to you, as I was coming, my only problem is that we are we are pleading with the president that it should use that same executive powers.
Do you think the president will listen to you?
As we all know, we normally call him Nana Addo the showboy. So the showboy manship, it should use that same showboy manship thing to push the finance minister to release this amount of money. From the document is 418 million Ghana cedis. The government can do this. So as we are the youth of Ghana and we are his children, if he's listening to us, this is our situation. Johnny, see, there are documents to prove that we were working. You see, before we will get our allowance, we have to fill time sheets.
Right.
The time sheet,
you have to sign it off.
You have to sign it off. It has to be stamped by our supervisor, and the coordinator at the various places have to also validate it. So there's evidence that we were at post. We were working. If they want, they can go back to our various workplaces to take our timesheets, to check. We were there, working. Evidence are there. So if we work all this while and there are evidence to prove that we were at our various workplaces, so why is our small money delaying? So we are pleading on the president to use that same executive powers that he has to push the ministry, the finance ministry, to release or give us financial clearance.
Well, the Nana Techi says, I'm sure he's part of you. He says, my warm greetings to all my colleagues. My spirit is with them as the general PRO for trainees, the most insensitive government in the history of this Republic of Ghana. Big ups to you, John. And the MPP government is very insensitive. How do you feel paying this peanut when this is not even up to 1 day sitting allowance of your appointees? Michael Dokurugu sent that one. And clearly, the NABCO beneficiaries are not happy at all. Now, let me ask you this. Are there no other openings or opportunities for you to go? Because it looks like you're fighting for this, but this money, Aka, Ashe, Emma.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes, sir.
into me, shit.
Oh,
It can't. You see,
you won't let it go.
Mr. Hughes, my brother was using some pleading. It should be officially we are pleading, but actually we are not pleading for the money. This money is what we've worked for. We are not begging government to give us grant. We are asking government to give us what we are supposed to have. This money is not coming from any individual person coffers. We put the government in charge of the country's resources to disburse it so that each and everyone who worked and deserve payment should also get some. So if the government is paying his CEOs, his ministers for the work they have done, we are also saying we've done the job and we must to be paid. Now, Mr. Hughes, look at something. Mr. Hughes, please give me a minute to give you this scenario.
Give me, go ahead.
Imagine you are having a neighbor who is living in a bushy house.
Right.
For like 2 years, have not cleared that bush from there. One day, this man get the nerves to sharpen his cutlass and bypass his house to come and read your house for you. How will you see this man?
Who is this neighbor you're talking about?
You see, the issue is recently the vice president commanded
Right.
a money to be released to pay to the nursing trainees.
Trainee allowances, yes.
You see, the nursing trainees, they are under Ministry of Health. NABCO trainees are under the office of the vice president. The vice president bypassed the NABCO people to go and fight for Ministry of Health. What you are supposed to do, you were not doing it.
Maybe you're not asking hard enough because the lady asked the question at a party gathering, and you could tell that some of the people, they were even trying to shut it up, but she went ahead and asked, and she stated that you owe me X amount, you promised that you're going to give. Are you asking
Johnny,
enough, hard enough?
this thing happened, this similar situation with the nurse happened in the Volta region,
Right.
whereby a chief, whereby if he's listening, NABCO trainers are very grateful. He asked the flag bearer of NPP, Dr. Mount Baumia, that when is he going to pay the NABCO beneficiaries?
Right.
And the response that the vice president, currently the flag bearer, gave him was that he's going to push for the government to pay.
When was this?
It happened somewhere around last month.
Okay.
When he went for his Volta region tour.
Right.
The Volta, a chief asked him, and he said, going to push. You see, with the next thing, we know that it has an LI.
Right.
It's something that has gone to parliament. It has backends.
Right.
So it's easy to do what? To push. But with NABCO, our problem is that it was an executive order.
Right.
It doesn't have any LI. So when Baumia said he will push, I know maybe, we don't know, but maybe he's pushing. But there are what? Obstacles.
But the thing is not going.
The thing is not going. Maybe he's pushing, but it's not going. So that obstacle there, we are only the president who has that executive power to take that obstacle off.
What do you say to those who think that, look, you are doing this to hurt the government and to hurt the party because you haven't intensified your calls up until now, and it's close to elections. That's why you are doing this to hurt the government. What do you say to that from Thomas?
You see, Mr. Hughes, you see, when we talk of NABCO, NABCO should be like a praises team for the government.
Right.
That thing wasn't there. You brought it there. In a can we say, ye dear wa, yenkum many. What it means is, if you are to even kill, you don't start from home.
Okay.
Something that you yourself propagated. Instead of it to be praises on you right now, it's now being indictment on your integrity. If they are saying NABCO trainees wants to tarnish the image of government, what about what Nana Kumia, the campaign manager of Dr. Baumia, said? He said this thing is an embarrassment.
Right. He sat in your chair.
Really?
This
Nice
same
one.
chair
Oh, okay.
told me.
Coincidentally.
I did that interview.
Then I am sitting in this chair to reiterate what Nana Akomia said. I am not the one saying. Nana Akomia is saying it is an embarrassment. In fact, the campaign manager of Dr. Baumia is saying the man that he is campaigning for, there is a tag on him. And that tag is very, very embarrassing. So the government should do the right thing to remove that tag. If Nana Akomia is saying this, you don't see it as a tarnish to the image of the government. But we NABCO trainees, that we find it difficult to eat. We find it difficult to get 3 square meals. You are saying we are tarnishing the image. Those that are saying that, you know, niya catch omone say ento oma omunda.
Hey.
Yeah.
If they are not there yet, they have not walked a mile in your shoes, so they can't judge you.
No.
They should wait till they go through what you are going through.
No. Imagine a government that's wake up at the end of the month, he pays himself, he pays his ministers fat salaries. Why? Is it not disgraceful for us at that time? And a youth of Ghana is fighting over 700 cities. Us at this time, and the government doesn't see anything wrong with it. Us at this time, a youth of Ghana to fight for 700 cities. Even Mr. Hughes, look at how they've devalued the money. You see, this money was supposed to be paid in 2021.
Okay.
In 2021, a tuber of yam was costing 10 Ghana cedis. With that 700 cedis, I could have purchased 70 pieces. Now, a tuber of yam is 600 Ghana cedis.
Yeah.
If I am to pay that 700 today, I will get
That's
home
60 Ghana.
60 Ghana, sorry, 60 Ghana cedis. If I'm to take the 700 right now, I can purchase only 11 pieces of that yam, of which I can purchase 70 pieces. Back then, look at this. Look at this. And we are not pleading for the government to give us job. No. We don't.
You have
forgotten that thing. We are not asking government to give us jobs.
But government says if digitalization and other things come, jobs will be created. So why are you?
Right now, Mr. Hughes, we are not in.
You don't want.
We don't want.
Give
in
us
fact,
the money.
We don't want any job.
You want them to give you. the
In
money.
fact, we don't want any job. All that we are saying is that they should give us the hard-earned money.
Would you have wanted the money used for the National Cathedral to be given to you to pay off, what was owed you?
Johnny, this is a very good question. I think we discussed this thing with the Honorable Okudjota Blakwa the last time when I met him in his office.
Right.
He made a similar submission that you are saying now, that the man that they used in that cathedral, and as we speak, we don't know what is going on there. It's a big hole, just a hole. That money, why didn't they channel that money to pay NABCO trainees? So you always ask yourself, what are the priorities? So in every government or in every situation, you have to set your priorities. So if NABCO trainees are hungry, we need our money, and you have that amount of money, and you invest it in digging a hole, at the end of the day, that money is wasted. And the problem is still what? It's still pending. So that money should have been used, and there are lots of scenarios that we can cite here, that the monies have gone just the drain, and the problem of NABCO trainees are still pending. So we don't want to say that the government is just trying to push it under the carpet. We always keep on telling the government that what has happened already, fine. But now that we are here, we are pleading, or as my colleague said, we are demanding what rightfully belongs to us.
Have you written to the president?
That is what we are planning on. As I've spoken to Nana Techi on my way coming, we'll be writing to the national security.
Right.
We also be looking at communicating to Nana Bedietu,
Executive Secretary to the President.
We want to deal with him too, because they are much close to the president. They should remind him that we NABCO trainees are still there. We are demanding for what our money. There are a lot of series of actions that will be taking place. I personally, I had a call from the operations police headquarters.
Right.
A day before the demonstration, there was a lot of heat. And I don't know how they managed to move into our chats. So they were observing all our chats on the page. They realized that the youth were heated.
Right.
The way the heat was, they called me a day before the demonstration that if anything goes wrong, I'll be arrested.
Wow.
Do I still want to push on with the demonstration? It was around 4 p.m.
The police said that to
The
you?
police called me around 4 p.m. That if anything happened, I'll be arrested. I hope I know that. I say, yeah, I know. So would I like to push on the demonstration? I say, why not? So I have to call to calm them down that this is the situation at grounds.
You were threatened.
I was threatened that if anything happened, I'll be arrested
by
a police officer. That if anything happened, I'll be arrested. So you see, that was when I realized that means that our chats has been infiltrated, like they've moved into our system.
Right.
So I have to just call the guys to just calm down. Let's do it quietly, peacefully, and let's go. That day I was at the independent Kwame Nkrumah circle, and the whole regional commander drove from his office to come and see me one-on-one. So it was like, who is the Peterson guy?
Okay.
So when he met me, we had a talk, and everything was calm, cool. So you see, the youth are fired up. They want to do something because this is taking too long. And we don't want, because of this amount of money, there should be people have to be this rubber bullet and tear gas have to be. We don't want to go to that extent. That's why we just want to do it very peacefully.
I hear you.
So that government will just pay us off, and it ends there.
I'll pick your closing thoughts, but listen to President Akufo-Addo at NABCO at 1.
A full-time employment, President Akufo-Addo says they should be given priority.
I urge our NABCO trainees to continue to seize the moment and opportunities offered by the scheme to develop themselves. As a trainee, your NABCO story must be one of continual growth. It is our hope that you transition smoothly into your desired career pathway as a result of the value addition being derived from the scheme. Thus far, the NABCO module implementation partners have fulfilled their part of the bargain. I commend them for their partnership of the scheme and would appeal to them to recognize and reward the sacrifice made by trainees. They should be the first to be considered when opportunities for permanent employment come up.
After okaying them for work
So that's what the president said 1 year ago. On Facebook now, those watching us live, Perlin orders Perlin catering services around Polycamp Hostel at Cape Coast watching. And says, good morning, Johnny Hughes. That's Ann Bagbeo. He says, good morning, Johnny Hughes, watching you live from Bangkok in the Upper West region. We thank you and the trainees for the good job. I'm in a village in the Upper West trying hard to also start something, but we are begging the president of the country to pay us. Addison Benny says, please, we the trainees need that money to start something. We are suffering. How much, if you put together each individual's own, how much will it be?
Currently, if the 9 month times 7, each individual is taking about 6,300.
And what can you possibly do with that?
6,300. You see, we the trainees, some of us are in the rural areas.
Right.
That amount of money is very huge. At least he can start something.
Right.
Something small. So if this money is given to such person, imagine, at least it will help to release her or him from some of these economic hardships.
Okay.
So it's very, very important, and if we get it, can go a long way to help. And I want to just make some one or two quick on the audio that the president just made on our NABCO at 1. He said NABCO's trainers are going to be rewarded.
Right.
And they are going to be the first to be considered.
Priority, yeah.
Priority when there are any government employment. You see, at times it's so funny. You see, these talks, they are so juicy. And when you hear them, you feel like, wow, these are going to work out. But anyway, you wake up and realize that, what, you see, we don't hold our leaders accountable. So they feel like, we can just say it and we just walk away. Nothing will happen. You made all this time, just what my colleague said, educate Ghana. NABCO trainee, before you realize they'll bring another person to come and replace you, the NABCO trainee.
While you are still there, you have not been given
You
permanency.
are also a trained teacher who have gone through the system. You are having your licensure exam certificate.
Right.
And you are and they'll bring a different person to replace you. Not that you're not a trained teacher. Most of the NABCO trainees who went to educate Ghana and
Trained teachers
Trained
who were
teachers
waiting for an opportunity.
who were waiting for opportunity of posting. So why can't you just fix them in there? So they still, you see, when you listen to somebody's audios, at times you are forced to use certain words which are not what.
No,
which
don't.
Which are not good.
Let me ask you a simple question. The police commander called you and told you if something happens, you will be picked up.
Yes, please.
Is that why you are not demonstrating anymore?
Well, no. We will demonstrate. You see, now the situation is very, very pathetic. Now, NABCO trade to come out is a problem. So we are trying to see those in Accra. We NABCO trade in Accra, at least maybe from our various places to circle, maybe we will not spend much. So we are trying to create a platform for NABCO, former NABCO train within Greater Accra, who can come out in their numbers to demonstrate. So we are working on that. We are soliciting on those around Greater Accra only to come out to do that.
Right.
So we will staging a demonstration if this nothing is said. But we know this is a big platform. We know this is a big platform. Politicians are listening. So if they should just try and
they should intervene
on the shoulders
for you.
of the
President.
that his children are talking.
From Pemons, you have the final word.
Okay, Mr. Hughes.
Yes, boss.
As my colleague was saying, we are assuming the president having heard of our plea. We are assuming.
You are assuming.
We are assuming.
So now you are hoping that he would hear.
Now, what we are trying to tell Mr. President, with all due respect, we want to ask him a simple question. After his term of office, if we hear his name, what should the feeling be like? Should it be like we hear your name and we are happy, or we hear your name and remember the sad things? Now it seems most people are complaining. Pensioners are complaining. Now bankers sectors are complaining. Now the NABCO, which we were your beloved sons and daughters, we too, instead of we to heap praises on you, whenever we come out, it seems as if we are fighting with you. It's not like that. But a hungry man is an angry man. It's not like we want to tarnish any government image. We are saying, don't give us job anymore. Give us our money. That is all we are saying. And whether the money is huge or small, we are not going to let it go. Mr. Hughes, I've seen somebody who just cash out 100 cedis to somebody on
by the roadside,
and fought with a mate over 50 pesos. What's the meaning? Cheating is not acceptable anywhere. The youth of Ghana, enough is enough. We are not going to allow anybody to cheat us again. Thank you.
Okay,
All
Peterson
right. So,
and Frimpong Manso, we're grateful for your time.
We are grateful. And Johnny, please, this is from NABCO trainees nationwide.
Right.
We really want to appreciate the effort that Media General is putting in for NABCO trainees. We wish others would do that, but I think we are championing our cause.
Right.
And we are very grateful. NABCO trainees everywhere. We say a big thank you to Media General for giving us such platform to also air out our grievances for those in big higher places to hear us.
Forgotten country.
Grateful.
Thank you.
All right.
We're grateful.
Thank you too.